Welcome to Best Bulls Ranch. My name's Jason. This is the Milkman. This is Wick. Today we're gonna be showing all kinds of stuff. And today we're gonna be talking about dog genetics, how to make sure you get the dog with the proper temperament and behavior that you want. We're gonna talk about feeding and one of the super packed nutrient foods that we add to our dog's food to make sure they stay healthy, happy, and safe. We're gonna show puppy feeding. We're gonna do progesterone tests. We're gonna do dog bathing. We're gonna do the Best Bulls life. Make sure you stay tuned. Me and Milkman out here. So talking more about genetics, a lot of people get tricked by puppies, good or bad. For example, this boy right here, this is the Chunks right now. I haven't introduced him on YouTube. I've been introducing him a ton on TikTok and IG. His name is the Chunks, Chipmunk the Chunks. But he looks like a chipmunk. He's like a very, very similar color. He's really cute. When he was younger, pretty much like 5 days ago, he's 5.5 weeks now. Before he was in that cute stage, I would think he's a bad looking bulldog. He didn't have a rope. His head was not rounded yet, and he just wasn't developed. But the biggest indicator, like I always talk about, of what a dog's gonna look like are its parents. And then another gigantic indicator is what the parents have produced before and how they've developed, their developmental process. And then the best indicator also is too, if it's like a repeat breed, you'll know exactly what you're gonna get. A common question I get is, how do I get the right dog for me? And it depends on what you want. Now, as far as temperament goes, temperament is a lot genetic. It's also environmental too, but it's genetic as well. And this is factual. So environmental, you can, I'm rubbing my nose, I'm allergic to dogs, guys. I know most of you guys are, if you've been watching me, you know that. But with environment, you can change a dog, you can change their temperament to a degree. And then same thing with the environment too. Genetically, there's a certain amount of the dog that is gonna stay the same and change. So that being said, to give yourself the best chance of success statistically to have the right dog for you, if you want a chill dog, if you want a hyper dog, if you want whatever kind of dog you want to make sure that you look into the breed. Okay, so if you're looking at English Bulldogs, now that you found the dog you want an English Bulldog. You want a mini or micro English Bulldog. So now the next thing is, I need to look into the parents. Do the parents have the temperament that I like? Because that is the biggest indicator of how your puppy is going to act temperament-wise. Of course, like there is the environmental aspect of it too. That does play a big factor. But if you have the right environment, but you have a dog that genetically is, exact opposite of what you want, that's going to be a big problem for you to train. You could be able to train a dog, or you could not. So it's going to be very, very hard. So again, if you want to give yourself the best chance for success as far as how your dog acts temperament-wise, make sure you see the parent. You understand how the parents act, and then the next step in that process is the grandparents. So those are the two biggest factors on how your dog's going to look, act, move, walk, health-wise. Everything. So Milkman and the Chunks are pretty much like 100% brothers. Not 100%, but close enough. They're same dads and their moms are sisters, so it's really close. Very similar bloodlines, so we expect very similar results. Small, compact, thick. And now, if I look at the puppy, after I take all those things into consideration, the program, the pedigree, now the puppy is starting to look like that, starting to develop like that. Very short back, nice thickness coming in. Milkman's like, that's my brother. He's gonna be growing up with us. We're gonna see how he develops. He might not develop as good as Milkman. He might develop better than Milkman. We're gonna see. If I had to bet, he'll be similar to Milkman. The only thing that you would want to watch out for as far as color, white dogs, you have to be more careful like Milkman. He can't be like left in the sun, but they shouldn't be left in the sun anyway, they're Bulldogs, because he can burn. But Milkman's never had a burn. I don't ever like monitor his sun intake, because he knows when he just gets out of the sun. He doesn't really want to stay in the sun. Bulldogs only usually sunbathe for daily 5-10 minutes, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. Milkman a bath. Milkman's white, so he shows his dirt quicker than others. But with baths too, make sure, see how there's no noise coming from this? I do that because otherwise if it noise, it can scare him. I would prefer to have like a dog bathing area. That's not done yet. And this is a Burt's Bees, pretty organic shampoo. That's what I use majority of the time. But he's all cleaned up now. But this is the chunks right here. Most likely we'll be keeping them as a stud. Now I have blue, I'm getting all the colors for the studs, but colors, like I always say, is not that important, but it's pretty cool to have a fawn stud that like Escobar, which I've always wanted, because I love this color. I love all the colors, and people like, it's funny how people like the merles and stuff, and they're really pretty, don't get me wrong, but I think after looking at everyone, I think my favorite color now is the milkman, like that white and with the black pies is just so cute to me. But everyone has their own opinion. I'm not saying anything that's right and wrong. That's just what it is. I'm gonna go over feeding right now. We're gonna talk about one of the super nutrient-packed foods that I add to our dog's meal, as well as other supplements, the dog foods we use, why we do it, and the rationality behind that. So these are the chicken eggs. I do hard-boiled eggs for my dogs because some of them don't like the raw, and then some of them won't eat the shell if you break it up. So I just hard-boil it. It makes it easier because some of my dogs are picky, some of them aren't. Our fresh eggs from our coop, and just put them in there like this, and just hard. So this is what I do every morning. I get eggs, and so I do this, and I don't know how many eggs that was. It was probably like, what, 8, 6, 7. We don't have enough chicken eggs daily to give each dog an egg yet, but we have 12 more chickens coming. They're supposed to be here, but I guess because of all the chicken craziness now. And then we'll have 20 or 25 chickens, and then we'll have enough eggs every day for every dog to have a fresh egg. But this is enough. This supplements them, so it makes them mush. We're gonna go make their food, so they get a mixture of fresh eggs, wet food, either 4Health or Blue Buffalo, and then they get their food mixture, they get their vitamins, everything. So this is the morning meal. The morning meal, like I always say, is the bigger meal, what we do, and it has all their special stuff in it. Nighttime is just straight dry food, and it's a smaller meal. So let's go outside, let's feed them. So as you can see, yard is a mess. The facility build out is like, sometimes you think it's just like a straight incline of improvement, but there's things that like take longer than others, and so right now the yard's a mess because obviously we filled it and leveled it with sand, but now we're waiting for our irrigation guy to come, the dirt, and the process is like this going up, but we're moving up and we're progressing, so it's going great. So this is the work area right now. We're still improving. This is an old actual, like one of the separate pens that we used to keep dogs in, the graded floor pen, but now it's just a work table. We don't do that with dogs. Dogs have their facility now. So we're gonna feed the boys first. So I mix up the food. So I have, this is my pallet of food. This is like almost $3,000 in food, and it's gonna go pretty quick. I do 3 foods at a time, three mixes at a time. I just released a video on why we do different foods. Just to paraphrase it up, why we do different foods are: 1, balanced nutrition. Each food has a whole spectrum, and if you use all the foods together, now you're making sure you get the whole balanced nutrition. 2, you're stopping boredom. The dogs are different foods, different things, different tastes, different flavors. So for picky dogs, it's easier. 3, you're not putting all your eggs in one basket, and this is the biggest reason why I do multiple foods, is because if Victor or Canna or Origin, all these foods are great to some people don't like them, whatever. You can never win, but I like them based on the ingredients, based on rationality. But if there was ever a recall on the Canna saying they put rat poison in it, now I know that it wasn't the mainstay of my dog's diet, so it's gonna have less of effect on my dog. For example, if Origin is the best food and you only give your dog Origin, this is just a crazy OCD thing. You don't have to do this, guys, by the way. It's just what I do. Origin's a very good food, but they announced, in 3 months from now, they found out they were lying. They were putting this arsenic in food and all that stuff. Then I know that, okay, at least my dogs had other stuff as well too. Even though I don't think it's gonna happen, I just don't put all my eggs in one basket. But right now, we're rotating between a couple different brands. The other brand I actually don't have here right now. We've been trying 4Health salmon, which my dog's been doing really well on that. And then I have the Victor Ocean Fish. I have the Canna limited ingredients duck and pear. I have the Canna Grasslands, and I have the 6 Fish by Origin. I have 4 different brands, 5 different foods. I've been rotating. I do 3 at a time. So I mix the food together. The morning meal is the bigger meal, and it has all the extra ingredients in it. So these are for the boys right now. So all my dogs, they get fresh eggs, fresh farm-raised, organic, free-range eggs. Like I said, some of my dogs are picky eaters, and I don't cook it and individualize it because it takes longer, so it's easier just to hard boil a pot of eggs, use them for 4 or 5 days, and then when I'm ready, just put them in the blender, grind them up. The eggshell is very good for it, good calcium. So then my dogs get their vitamins. So we use Glycoflex, and then we use the multivitamin as well too. I don't have any more. I should be getting more probably today or tomorrow. Anyhow, I grind it up. I'm doing this quick because I've done a nutrition video before, but I'm doing another one just because I'm going over the egg stuff. I'm re-showing it because if you're new to my channel, you get to see it. And then I've been using 4Health. This is the brand I've been using. This is at my local feed store. And then I order Blue Buffalo as well too. So lamb or fish, I don't do anything chicken, remember. So I put the wet food in there, the vitamins in there. I mix it all up. And I always feed my dogs individually. I never feed anyone together. There's a bunch of reasons for that. I'll explain real quick. So I feed everyone individually. One, it's a huge indicator on how the dog's feeling, and based on how they eat, based on their attitude, and based on the dog. Some dogs eat like crazy. So like for example, Milkman, if he didn't eat, there's something wrong with him. Escobar sometimes doesn't eat, and that's normal, you know, so it's based on the dog, okay? But that's one. Two, allergies. For example, Kilo's a little bit more allergenic to certain things than other dogs. And if I was feeding them all together, I wouldn't really know. It'd be hard to, one, decipher what's going on. And two, it'd be hard to switch up their food. Everyone that wants to know the amount of dogs should be eating, an adult dog should be eating 1/3 cup per 10 pounds. So for every 30 pounds a dog weighs, they should be eating 1 cup of food a day. Well, it looks like one cup of food a day. If the dog weighs 60 pounds, 2 cups of food a day. 1/3 cup per 10 pounds. Now that's with adult dogs. Puppies need more, and if your dog is getting too fat, feed it less, and your dog's getting too thin, feed it more. So that's why you always regulate and just watch your dog as well too. So I feed the males separately, then I'll feed the females. I add this to my male, it's called Progesterone. It's just a supplement to help with semen production. And I do it in everyone's food except Kilo's, because Kilo has an allergic reaction to it. He will get hives and stuff. That's why I said Kilo is more sensitive to things. So everyone gets this, and then I mix up their food, and I serve it to them. So very simple. The morning food is a little bit more complex. I do 2 different vitamins. I do 3 different hard foods. I do 1 wet food, and I do ground up eggs. And that's their food, and our dogs do well. The coats are good. Now, don't think that just because you feed your dog like my dogs, they're gonna look like my dogs like 100%, because the structure and the thickness of the dog is a DNA thing. People confuse that. Now your dog can look bad because if it's not eating right, or you know, the coat and all that stuff, and the health and the longevity of their life, but structure, you can't really change on the food. It's a common misconception. But that's the feeding for the dogs, everybody. Let me know in the comments of what you think. And let me know if you have any suggestions, any questions. Like I said, I'm always changing stuff up. I'm always willing to grow, add new things. We have, I still have quail that are coming, so we're gonna be adding quail to their diet. We'll be always trying to make their diet as good as possible. Right now I'm gonna go over how to feed puppies by using what we call the fingertip method, using a syringe and your finger. We are live. So, got the puppies, 4.5-week-old puppies. So every time you get your puppies out, you wanna look at their eyes, make sure their eyes are good. The cleaner they are, less chance of infection, less chance of all kinds of things. I wash them with soap and water, but just pretty much every single time I assess them, and if they need to be cleaned, I clean them up as well too. Here's my syringe. I already sanitized it in boiling water, or you just get a new one every time, but I just sanitize every couple times. So, milk, feeding with the fingertip method. Always test to make sure it's not too hot. I put it in the back of my finger. If it's cold too, it's bad because it can drop their body temperature. They can't digest if their body temperature drops. So their body temperature has to be warmed up for them to be able to digest food, so you don't want to give them cold milk. So fingertip method, finger simulates the nipple. Milk goes here, you regulate the flow here, don't go too fast. You only add milk as they're sucking. So I'm here, I put it in the side into my finger, not down their throat. So if I push too hard, it doesn't squirt down their throat, it squirts out the side of their mouth. So this is what I do. I hold the puppy with my other hand so it can't go around, and I push my finger hard into my finger so the thing doesn't move, and that's all. A lot of times, when they're this old, they only need to be fed every about 4 to 6 hours. But when they're younger, they need to be fed every 2 to 3. Now, as far as feeding the puppies, normally you'll bottle feed, or what we call fingertip feed, until about 5 weeks old, and then they go on mush. But I don't bottle feed, because bottle feed they can aspirate easier. Even though you can bottle feed, guys, you can bottle feed the Bulldogs. It's still a higher risk, so I don't do it. Personally, I don't do it. And then I do the fingertip method. It works really well. The girl's doing awesome. If you're watching this on my YouTube channel, go follow my TikTok, DaBestBulls. And right now, we're gonna go over progesterone testing and showing how we go through the process using our fine care machine. The progesterone test is what's gonna tell you the ovulation level of the dog and when to do semen insemination, all that stuff. The process is, you're gonna get the blood, you're gonna put it in a little vial, and then you're gonna put it in the centrifuge, and you're gonna spin it and get the plasma out. So you need to get plasma. You always have to have it counterbalance too. You get the plasma, so you get a new little end on there, a new cartridge. You make sure it's lined up, same numbers as the reader, 309 AD, yep, perfect. And this is just one machine. There's multiple different machines. This is called the Fine Care Wandof. There's other machines that work as well too. So you do that. You get the fluid that you need to mix the plasma with right here. You're gonna pull plasma, put it in there, mix it, put it in the cartridge, and then put it in there, and it goes 15 minutes. And that tells you the progesterone levels. The fine care machine is like a good starter machine. There's other machines that are a little bit more accurate, like an IDEX or a Mini VDES. They're more expensive and they take longer, but this works really well. This is gonna tell us based on the numbers. So a fine care, they just updated their chart. It used to be different. Now they recommend early ovulations like 15 to 20, but basically with a fine care machine, in layman's terms, if you wanna do inseminations via AI, you want to do it between 20 and 30. That's the best window. And then 30 and up is probably the surgical TCI range. Thank you so much for watching another episode of DaBestBulls Ranch. Make sure you stay tuned for all our content, our puppies, our studs, our dogs, everything. Go follow us on Instagram, DaBestBulls Ranch and DaBestBulls, TikTok, DaBestBulls Ranch and DaBestBulls, and of course, subscribe to our channel right here on YouTube, DaBestBulls Ranch. We appreciate you so much. Let me know in the comments below what you liked, what you didn't like, what you think we need to add, what you think we don't need to add. Any suggestion, constructive criticism is always appreciated. I appreciate you so much, and stay tuned for the next episode.